Hello and welcome to possibly the happiest Voices of the Vic episode with me, Mike Duffy, and as always, my trusty co-host Ben Aiton. Ben, like usually I ask like how your week's been and that, but mate, we're in the Premier League again, man. We beat Millwall 1-0. It is fucking brilliant, man. Like I genuinely I'm so buzzing to record this podcast. Like we're a Premier League side again. Ben, try and sum it up. How are you feeling at the moment, man?
We're Watford FC. We're Premier League. We're Premier League. We're Premier League. We're Watford FC. We're Premier League. Other than that, absolutely speechless, mate. So relieved we've done it. It's an immediate return. First attempt, bounce straight back up. It's like we've never been away. I'm absolutely buzzing. And like I just said to you as well, a bit emotional to come for final whistle as well. Seeing Cisco crying at full time, it really got to me and kind of welled me up a little bit. And just see how much it means to the players, him, and even the interview with Scott Duxbury up afterwards on the Watford YouTube channel. It just brings it home that we're all a massive family and we've done it and we've all stuck together, even when things were getting tough at the start of the season. Getting rid of Ivic as well. We all stuck together and we've all got promoted and we all fully deserve this. It's not just Cisco, not the players, not Duxbury, it's the fans as well. We've not been able to attend games this season and it's been tough, let's all admit. It's been tough watching from home, so it's absolutely fantastic and we deserve this as much as everyone else.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on there, Ben. Like, you know, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, but those last 4 minutes, my God, my heart was absolutely racing. It was like beating out my chest at one stage. Like you just can't put into words how good that was. You know, we knew that Millwall were going to be a tough side tonight, and they showed that. And just to let you guys know, we're obviously recording this. It's currently 7:30 on the 24th. So obviously Watford played at 3, finished around 5ish. It's 7:30 at the moment. So I think this is the first time we possibly recorded the same day as a game. So the emotions are still raw. I mean, for me, Ben, it might sound weird, but it's not actually still sunk in yet for us. Like I've just got back from the pub and I was looking through Twitter when I was there and I was like, there's so much stuff about Watford getting promoted and everything. But to me, it still doesn't quite feel like it's sunk in, like Watford Premier League again.
I haven't managed to go through Twitter yet because, like I said on the last podcast, I was looking after my little girl today. So it's been so tough to keep up with social media. It was hard enough trying to watch the game, but luckily she was such a good girl and managed to let me watch the game. She was just getting a bit nervy the last 5 minutes, but weren't we all Watford fans? But for the moment that final whistle went, I gave a massive yelp and roar, and she just looked at me, smiled, and started clapping her hands. And I was just like, oh, I fucking love you.
Yeah. No, that's what it's all about, man. I mean, the roars that probably would have gone around households throughout the UK, throughout the world. We got told this week that we got a couple of listeners from Australia. So, the roars that going around the world, let alone the UK, they must have been absolutely superb. And
wasn't it like a 5 a.m. or something over there when it all finished as well? Because one of the listeners actually said if we won, he'll jump in the sea and it would be 5 a.m. at the full-time whistle. So fair play. I want to see footage of this as well.
Yeah. Well, Watford usually put out a tweet before the game saying where are you watching from, and I don't know what part of Australia the two listeners are from, but the game kicked off at 1 a.m. So like hats off, kudos to you guys for staying up that late, and I wouldn't have even gone to bed if that was the time over here when we kicked off. But yeah, I mean it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, Ben, we'll start where we always start with the team news. I think the only change we were really expecting was probably Kiko coming in for Cathcart, and that was the only change. Although you perhaps maybe thought that Chalobah would come in instead of Gosling. I know you did that with your prediction with the Fan Hub app. But was you surprised that it was just the one change, or was you quite happy with the team news when it came out? What were your general thoughts, Ben?
It was as expected, really. Really, Kiko coming back after his one game suspension, after his 2 yellow cards at Luton, coming in for Craig Cathcart, and it was a really strong starting 11. I thought Gosling deserved to keep his spot, although I wanted Chalobah to start because I just feel like it's a bit more calmer on the ball, and maybe we would have controlled the game a bit better with Chalobah on the ball than Gosling. But I had no complaints with the starting lineup. That was probably the best we could do with it.
Yeah, absolutely, and like. Obviously, like always, the aim for Watford was to make sure we kept up that brilliant run. Like, I think I can't remember what game it was now. It was on TV. It was a Reading game, and they put up this graphic of Watford scoring in the first 15 minutes. I think we've scored before this game. We scored 16 goals in the first 15 minutes. So, we come out the traps quick. But to be honest, Ben, like I think a lot of people pre-match thought we'd already won this and we'd won this quite comfortably. Now, anyone that knows Gary Rowett's sides, they set up really well. I mean, Millwall have always been that sort of team that are quite a physical team. They're not broken down easily. I was on a Millwall podcast on, I want to say Thursday. No, it come out yesterday, but I spoke to them on Thursday, and me and the gentleman was exchanging messages before the game, and he really couldn't work out the formation that they were playing. He says, I'm not really sure what formation we're playing. If we play in a certain formation, then that means there's players playing out of position. But Millwall come prepared. They were stubborn. They were hard to break down. But it was one of them games where you thought the first goal was going to win it. And to be honest, it was a bit of a flat start, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it wasn't to the standard of what it was at Norwich when we was all over Norwich like a rash, weren't we? First 15 minutes, they couldn't get out of their own penalty box. A bit different today. Maybe it was nerves going into the game, a bit of pressure to deliver to get Watford promoted. So maybe that was why it was a bit of an unnervy start at the start of the game. But it doesn't matter if we got the job done. We grew into the game a little bit and started putting our authority down. Up in the tempo and getting Ismail Sarr into the game, and that proved pivotal, didn't it?
It certainly did. 12 minutes on the clock, and Sarr was brought down. I don't think they can have any complaints with the penalty. I've not seen any of the Millwall stuff. I've not seen Gary Rowett's, because what I tend to do is whenever we win, and I'll only do this when we win because I'm that bitter, but when we win, I tend to watch the opposition manager's press conference after the game just to see if they've sort of seen it from the same aspect that we've seen it. I've not seen Gary Rowett's pre-match, post-match. I've not seen it. Yeah, go on.
You can tell that Mike's had a few drinks, and I've started drinking as well. I think we're both mumbling a little bit at the moment.
Yeah,
Mike, how many beers have you had today, mate? What have you been drinking? Is it Carlsberg? Have we got that sponsor of Carlsberg in yet for Voices of the Vic?
Big up to John Parslow for that tweet, by the way. And I think Caroline tried to push it as well with the Budweiser advertisement. I bought, and I sent this to Ben, and Ben sent me a message back like, oh God. Just on a side note, I usually buy a crate of Budweiser. Now, usually that sees me through the whole match. But I wasn't originally going to plan to watch the Bournemouth game, but I ended up watching the Bournemouth game, and I started drinking watching the Bournemouth game. So I bought 18 bottles of Budweiser. Now, anyone that drinks Budweiser, anyone that's a lager drinker knows that Budweiser is quite easy to sort of gulp down, and it's not the strongest, and it's easy enough. It's a bit of a party beer whereby you can just, knock a few back in quick succession. I think, without counting, I'm on the 10th Budweiser bottle. And then after the game, I messaged Ben.
You've been to a pub as well.
Yeah. So after the game, Ben said to me, can we record about 7:30? And I was like, right, yeah, that's fine. Not a problem with me. I'm not doing anything. My mate texted me. He was like, I'm going to the pub because I've just been and watched the grassroots football again. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then I messaged Ben. I says, let's push it closer to 7:30. So I got to the pub just after 5:30 and had about 2 or 3 pints there. So again, nothing excessive. And then I've come back. I've got a beer in my hand, a bottle of Budweiser. I've got another bottle of Budweiser in case I finish this whilst recording. I've got a tub of Pringles, sour cream and onion, the best Pringles you can get. And then I've got some cookies as well, Maryland cookies, the best cookies out there, by the way. So I hope you've got a drink as well, Benny. You got a drink, yeah?
I do, yeah, because I've been looking after Isla. I've only just managed to start drinking, so I've got a lot of catching up to do.
You
I'm on
bloody
my
deserve
second
it.
can.
You
I'm on
bloody
my
deserve it, Ben.
Yes, I bloody do, mate. That was hard work today.
Yeah.
Trying to juggle a daughter and football at the same time with Watford being on the verge of promotion. God, that's a stressful day, mate. I need the crate.
I can imagine. Well, hopefully that's the first of many tonight, Benjamin. Hopefully. Anyway, back to what we were saying. Ismail Assar, Starman, they're calling him, in reference to the David Bowie song Starman. Brilliant front cover by the for the Watford programme today, by the way. Hats off to the media team on that. Brilliant job. But Ismail Assar doing what Ismail Assar's been doing all season, Ben. Runs at his fullback, which, you know, at the start of the season, we saw his confidence maybe delve a little bit, but he's certainly starting to understand that. He's absolutely rapid and he's running at his fullbacks, and that fullback's absolutely clattered him. Don't know why he's done it. I don't think there can be any complaints on the Millwall side of things. Brings him down. And do you know what, Ben? I was actually surprised to see Sarr take the penalty. I thought it'd be João Pedro. Considering he's on 9 goals, I thought, okay, Pedro's going to step over this. He didn't. It then seemed, obviously, Ismail Assar put the penalty in. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But it then, on the replay, it almost seemed, well, it did seem, the ball actually moved before Sarr hit it. And I think that was because of the wind or whatever it was. And that ultimately made it harder for him. But, you know, he scored it in the end and we were 1-0 up. But that's what he's been doing all season, is it, Ben? And that is why he's key. That is why he is the man for Watford, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it's so vital to get promotion, because if we don't get promotion, Sarr moves on. Now we've got promoted, Sarr is very likely to stay. Look, he stayed with us when we was in the Championship, so he shows that he's dedicated to this club. Now we're promoted, I can see him sticking around as well for maybe another season. Who knows? Depends how we do. Possibly another season after that. But so vital that we keep hold of him to buzzing, because he's one of the best players in the Championship. He's best player in the Watford side, so it's exciting to having him in our side, and to be able to go back to Vicarage Road next season and see him in a Watford shirt is absolutely incredible. But like you say, he's doing what Sarr's been doing all season, causing havoc for all the left backs in the Championship. Him and Kiko linking up well, just like they've done all season as well. Lovely 1-2. Sarr gets in behind him, then getting clattered down, and then that penalty, cool as you like. I don't think there's a cooler man in Vicarage Road to step up for take that. And the way he just rolled it into the back of the net as well, it was like he's taking a piss out of the keeper. Fucking loved it.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, this keeper, Bill Kowski, I mean, just on a side note, he lived in the village where I live now, in Nottinghamshire, when he played for Notts County. So he lived at the estate, literally opposite the estate that I live on. But going back to more statistical talks, he's got 18 clean sheets this season. I think it's the 3rd most in the league. So he's no mug. And, like, you know, with Ismail Assar standing over the penalty, you do sort of wonder, is he going to try and be clever? Is he just going to put it down the middle? Whereas with Troy Deeney, you know that he's just going to absolutely fucking bollock it down the middle and just, he's just going to put some power behind it. So, whereas, you know, with Ismail Assar, João Pedro, you're not really sure what to expect. But like you said, Ben, it went in, and I think everyone was relieved when that went in. I certainly, like, I roared the house down when that went in. Nobody was in at the time of the game. My mum and her partner went out, and they got back just before the second half.
Where was your brother today?
My brother was watching it at his dad's. He went to his dad's today. So,
okay.
Cam and Mike, if you're listening, I hope you had a wicked time. I obviously couldn't be there, but I hope you had a wicked time watching it. But I was watching it on my own, and I about screamed house down. Luckily, I get on with both the neighbours, but I'm sure they'll be glad to hear the end of the football season soon. Went 1-0 up. You then expect Watford to obviously go and then get a second goal, which is what I think we've seen under Xisco. I think Tommy Mooney pointed it out. We tend to get a goal and then we're straight on it to get another goal. Like, under Ivic, if we get a goal, we're like, okay, let's sit back, guys. Let's defend for the rest of this game. And it makes for a really tough viewing. But under Cisco, we get a goal and we're like, right, we need to get another one. Like, kill the game stone dead. And we were doing that. We were really, really pushing. Wasn't quite to be. I tell you what, Ben, if that Tom Bradshaw for Millwall could finish, we'd have been in fucking trouble, mate. Because the amount of chances he had, like, I couldn't believe how many chances he had today. It was unbelievable, and he just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, luckily. But was you expecting us to maybe get a second goal as quick as the first goal, or was you expecting a tougher proposition?
Yeah, no, hoping more than anything that we'd get a second goal. I wasn't really expecting. I knew it was a nervy game. I knew it wasn't going to be a pretty watch today. And if there's anyone better to see out a 1-0 win, it's Watford. We've done it pretty much all season. It's not great for the old ticker at all. But
no.
I would have loved a second goal, but reality was we're not going to really get it today. Not with Millwall's defence. Like, they did pretty well. They stood tall. They didn't really give away too many opportunities for us to score today either. It was resulting to maybe shots from distance, or it was shots that was being blocked and going behind for corners. It was really hard for Watford to actually get in behind against Millwall. So, yeah, no, I wasn't really expecting a second one. It was more hoping, if anything.
Yeah, and luckily we got that penalty early on, because, as you say, they did really restrict us, and that's kudos to Millwall, the way they set up. Gary Rowett's got them setting up brilliantly, and that's why they're in the top 10 of the championship. And I must say as well, obviously we do our stat pack, and our home form against Millwall is brilliant. I think that's one loss in the last 10 games at home to Millwall now, I think, off the top of my head. The other stat that I come across was, when Millwall score a goal, they're one of 5 teams not to lose when they score first. And I was a little bit worried about that. But then on the flip side, out of the 21 home games that we'd played, we'd scored first in 19 of them. So I was like, okay, I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. And then I think it was the Watford Watford fanzine, sorry. If you've not checked them out, by the way, it's Golden Pages fanzine. Go and check them out on Twitter. Make sure you go and buy the latest issue as well. The guys are brilliant over there. They retweeted a stat which scared the shit out of me, to be quite frank, Ben. And I could have done without seeing that. I really could have done without seeing that the day before. There were only 2 teams in the championship that haven't had back-to-back defeats. Is it in the whole season, or is it since the new year?
No, just 2021, yeah.
So since the new year, those 2 teams, Watford and Millwall. So, Millwall coming in off the back of a 4-1 drubbing against Bournemouth, and Watford haven't, lost back-to-back games this year either. So I was like, okay, this could be a little bit difficult. And we knew what we were coming up against. Millwall, really tough side. The game at the Den earlier in the season, bloody hell, that was a scrappy game and a half. But, I was a little bit worried about that. Obviously, that record has now gone because we won. But obviously, we knew what to expect from a Gary Rowett side. Now, we got the goal. That was fine. Not a problem. We were trying to build on it and get a second goal. A little bit worrying. I've not heard anything since. He looked okay in the videos that the players put up afterwards, but we were forced into a change in the 31 minutes mark, Ben. Kiko Femenia coming off for Craig Cathcart. It looked like a really horrible groin injury, and when your groin goes, bloody hell, like, oh God, like I'm just wincing at the moment just thinking about it. That must have hurt him. But was you worried that Kiko was coming off? Because obviously Kiko, that's his natural position. Or was you like, okay, no, we've seen what Craig Cathcart can do at that position. I'm okay. That's an able replacement. What were your thoughts when that substitution was made so early on, Ben?
It was such a shame to see Kiko go off. Like you say, you could see how much pain he was in the moment it happened. And once your groin's gone, you can't really carry on. So gutted for him, and that'll probably be out for the rest of the season. I know there's only 2 games left, but I doubt it's going to be playing for those 2 games. The substitution, I wasn't really worried because we saw how well Craig Cathcart performed at Norwich midweek, and there was even calls from a certain Watford section today to actually keep Craig Cathcart at right back today. I saw there was a poll from the Watford Observer man, Ryan Gray, he put out a poll for Kiko or Cathcart to start the game, and Cathcart got a fair amount of votes as well, sir. But I was quite pleased for Cathcart to come on. It was vital last week to keep a clean sheet. It was really solid, and it was, like you said last week, you feel sorry for Cathcart. Whenever he's called upon, he does a brilliant job, and then he's back out the side because there's the injured player or suspended players back from injury now, so it forces Cathcart out the side. So I was pleased for him to get back into the side by won't being the starting lineup. But what I will say is the moment Craig Cathcart came on and replaced Kiko, I was concerned that we wouldn't get the best out of Ismail Sarr after that, because we saw what Kiko and Sarr did for the penalty. We see them link up time and time again. They're so good at it. And we saw that we weren't really doing that last week at Norwich with Cathcart and Sarr. That's why Cleverley was over on the right-hand side to help him out. So I was a little bit worried that we weren't going to carry on seeing more attacking, explosive play from Kiko and Sarr down that right-hand side.
Yeah, and obviously that is a little bit worrying. Obviously, we know the partnership that Kiko and Sarr have built up this season has been brilliant. You know, they overlap on each other. Kiko's pacey, Sarr's pacey, and obviously Craig Cathcart sort of takes a bit of a different dimension out of it. I mean, there's a brilliant stat, which obviously we love stats here, but I think John Marks said Cathcart being on the pitch is the only remaining player that was from the promotion season from 14-15. So, and he's been a brilliant servant. Like, even I remember, Ben, you know, we're old enough to remember his first
stint on loan from Manchester United. Yeah,
he was brilliant then as well. Same with Tom Cleverley. You know, I don't know whether it was the same season. I obviously can't remember off the top of my head, but both have been brilliant servants to the club. And you think, obviously, they started out on loan, but you know, I've got nothing but respect for Craig Cathcart, and he come in and he did a brilliant job. Yes, he didn't have the same dimension as Kiko in terms of the overlapping and the understanding with Sarr, but he come in, Ben, and he added another solid dimension to that back four, which I've got no problems with. I mean, one man I want to speak about now, Ben, Daniel Bachmann. It wasn't long ago.
What a man.
Yeah. It wasn't long ago that we were maybe a little bit worried with the way that he would sort of demand aerially. Now, in terms of claiming balls from the air and claiming crosses and all that, that worry is now gone. Like today, against a physical side like Millwall, that will get the balls in the box and will bombard you. He was absolutely superb. 37 minutes on the clock, he made a brilliant save from Mitchell. And then I think the corner come in and they headed wide. So, you know, but Dan Bachmann today, I think, was one of his better performances in terms of saving us, because there was another save in the, I want to say it was it was just before the halftime whistle, I think, where it was that double save where the first one, it looked like he injured his shoulder because he clattered into the post, and then he had to get back up again because the ball was still alive, and then he tipped it over the bar, although I don't think he did tip it over the bar and the ref gave a corner anyway. But regardless, he got back up and he was back in the action, and I think he's like, we've spoken about him before, Ben, and we've had the old debate of Foster or Bachmann and that. But do you know what? I am so buzzing for Dan Bachmann this season. I really, really am, Ben.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was probably the stronger out of me and James that wanted Bachmann to play games. We had that debate probably about 3-4 months ago when Foster actually picked up being injured. James wasn't too keen of Bachmann being number one, and I said, just give him an opportunity. We'll take it. Fantastic at Kilmarnock. Got him into the Europa League. They finished really high in the SPL. It's fantastic performance he had out there, and he's bided his time, hasn't he? He's came back from Kilmarnock. He's sat on the bench. He's sat in the stands. He's just waited for the opportunity. And this season, halfway through, Ben Foster unfortunately gets injured for Ben Foster. But what an opportunity for Dan Bachmann to take! And this is where you properly tell if they're ready for it. Can he step up? And my God, did he step up this season? He saved us on so many accounts, and he definitely saved us today. Some fantastic saves, and he commands his box now. And we said that, we was worried about that a few months ago. We said he doesn't command his box. We do worry about that. Yes, he's vocal. He's one of the most vocal people in the stadium at times. You can hear him when you're watching the games. Yeah. But commanding a box has been a problem. Coming for crosses, keeping hold of a ball, it's been an issue. But I said a few weeks ago, he's only going to learn from his mistakes. He needs to play games to make little mistakes to learn from them. And I feel like the last 3-4 weeks he's been absolutely outstanding. He's been top drawer. Yes, he gave away a penalty at Luton, but that wasn't his fault. That was Lazar selling him short.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't be happier for him. And if anyone listening now hasn't watched the Watford YouTube promotion party, which is like an hour long on the YouTube channel, go have a look at it now. Dan Batman and Ben Foster go into the studio and have a chat, and Ben Foster cannot be any happier for Dan Batman. You might think he's a little bit sour because he's taken his spot, he's not playing football, he can't get his GoPro into the back of the net, but he's absolutely buzzing for Dan Batman, and it's so good to see the team spirit, the togetherness. It's outstanding.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were talking to me about that video before, and I've not watched it. So first thing I'm going to be doing after this, after editing all this down, is definitely going to be watching that, and I cannot wait. And I think, as you said, you know, that debate's been going on throughout the whole season. Really, do we stick with Batman? Do we when Foster's back fit? Do we put Foster back in? And Dan Batman's made that number one shirt his own, and you know, fair play to him. And you know, there would have been times where various Watford fans would have thought Backman's not good enough. You know, I seem to remember I was at the Tranmere game, the home, the one that we fucked up in. You know, we were 3-0 up at half time, I think it was, in the FA Cup last season, and we ended up drawing 3-3, and then obviously they won the replay. Backman, that game wasn't great. I'll be honest, and you know, I thought, okay, his time at Watford's limited. You know, he's getting cup appearances here and there, but you know, when called upon this season, he has been nothing short of phenomenal. And me and Ben aren't going to have this discussion now. I think a couple of people have asked us over the course of the season, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of next season. Will he be given the chance to prove himself in the Premier League? It is going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. But as we said, you know, he had a brilliant game today, and that double, well, we'll call it a double save because it pretty much was. That double save towards the end of the first half proved vital because we went into the half-time whistle 1-0 up. You know, nerves would have been sort of calmed a little bit. 63% possession we had. Millwall had 37% possession at half-time. We both had 5 shots on target, with both having 2 of those. We both had 5 shots altogether, and 2 of those were on target. We both had 5 shots and 2 on target each. 3 corners to Watford, 2 to Millwall. 247 passes for Watford and 146 passes for Millwall. No yellow cards or no red cards as well. Now, Ben, you know, this might seem like a silly question, but the second half, that it was all about getting that second goal and killing the game off, wasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. That was the plan. I thought it was a bit slow second half when it started once again. It didn't really improve until we made this double substitution and Gray and Chalobah came on. But nothing really happened. Like we say, when we're watching games, we take notes and that, and we write everything down. I haven't got anything written down until Watford's double substitution. What we'll say is it was a slow start. Millwall had 2 really quick chances within about 60 seconds of each other after the second half whistle, and it was like, come on, boys, fucking sort this out. Do you want to get promoted or not? And it was just, I think they just needed their heads to be rattled a little bit because it was such a slow, sloppy start. And it was like, come on, let's not lose it now. We've worked so hard all season. Let's not fuck it up now.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that double change now, Ben. Obviously, the double change took place in the 60th minute. As we know, Kiko loves the 60th minute substitution. Although we've not seen it recently. You know, he usually loves a 60-minute substitution, but he's sort of thrown us off the scent a little bit in the last few games. I think the earliest sub he made was 51 minutes, I think, at Rotherham. But 60 minutes, Nathaniel Chalobah coming on for Dan Gosling. A substitution, perhaps, that we thought maybe we perhaps thought that Chalobah would be sort of starting the game to start with, and then Andre Gray coming on for João Pedro. Now, João Pedro, we've spoken about him previously. Obviously, had a good game against Norwich, and I sort of said that I prefer the look of him out wide. Not really his game today, was it, Ben? He just couldn't get involved, could he?
And Gosling?
No, João Pedro.
So sorry, mate. These drinks are going to my head already. It's such a lightweight. it wasn't really working for him. Like you said in the last week's discussion, it was João Pedro. Does he work up top? Is he a number 9? We both think he's better in a number 10 or out on the flanks. And I thought we saw that yesterday. I thought the moment João Pedro came off, we actually looked maybe a little bit better with Andre Gray's directness up top. And because I don't think that's what João Pedro gives to the side. Fantastic trickery he brings. And we saw an example of it today in holding the ball up. But yeah, it's just not falling for him yet. And you could see when he got substituted, his head just dropped down to the floor because, like, you want him and we all want him. We want him to get to double figures because he fully deserves it.
Yeah, I need to stop trying to predict shit because I said last week, I said, he's going to get 10 goals. And I said, he's going to score this weekend. And it didn't happen. And then the other week, I said that Swansea and Brentford had someone shit. And then they went and won. So I need to just lay off the predicting because it's just not happening for us. Talking about not happening for us, that was pretty much the theme of the second half. You know, we made that double change. I think the best chance we probably had after that was, you know, Sarr tried to weave Gray in a little bit there, and you know, Gray was making these darting runs as he does, and they were trying to weave it through that really stern Millwall defence. I think Gray got on the end of Sierralta. It was a bit of a weird cross, to be honest. The ball went on the edge of the area, and instead of us trying to pass it round and then work it back into the box, Sierralta sort of just put his foot through it. He then landed in the box, and then Andre Gray sort of, again, as he always does, he scuffed a shot, and it went in to the hands of Bielkowski. So I think that was probably the best chance we maybe had in the second half. Neither keeper were really troubled in the whole of the game, other than the penalty. I think it's fair to say, Ben, would you agree with this? I think it's fair to say that neither keeper was really troubled, other than obviously Bielkowski having to try and save that penalty from Sarr. But it was a really quiet game for both keepers, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think both sides really struggled to get shots on target. We really struggled to get in behind the oppositions. I think the only time we really got in behind was when Ken Sema put it in the back of the net, but it was offside. He should have left that for Ismail Assar, didn't he? But yeah, we couldn't really get any shots on target, really. I think we had a free kick that went in the wall from Chalobah. But other than that, we didn't really have anything. I think Sarr got in behind once, and it was like a shot or cross, put it into the 6-yard box, and Gray's chance was blocked and went behind for a corner. Other than that, very limited on the chances.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think that's because the nerves were kicking in and we thought, fucking hell, if we're not careful, we're going to get hit on the counter here and they're going to end up equalising, and then we're going to have to do this all again next week. And then if we fluff that up, we're going to have to do it the week after and everything, etc., etc. Or do you think that we just thought, right, we'll hold what we have here? Like, do you think that there was a little bit of nervousness? I don't even think that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. Do you think the nerves were kicking in, basically, Benny? Do you think that's why we were perhaps a little bit lacklustre in the second half? I think it's fair to say that, I think
the nerves and the pressure was getting to the side. I think they knew there's 2 big games coming up after this, and Millwall's is the easier game for 3, and if we didn't pick up 3 points here, it was like, we got to go to Brentford away, and that's a tricky place to go, especially with them picking up 3 points a day away at Bournemouth and down to 10 men. So absolutely fair play to them. But yeah, I think the occasion just set in, and being on the 1-0 lead and seeing how quick Millwall can attack. I think we saw an example of it when Aiton gave of the ball away and like halfway, and they capitalised that on really quickly and got forward in so many numbers. And it could have been different if Millwall had their shooting boots on, or a striker who actually could put it into the back of the net, but thankfully that didn't happen. So yeah, I think it was just nerves, mate.
Yeah, I think that, I think after the Norwich game, I think we expected there to be a certain element of nerves in this game, because obviously so much was riding on it. Xisco was saying in the build-up he couldn't wait for this game because, it's Saturday, a chance to get back to the Premier League, etc.
Did you see his bit in the newspaper today saying he was going to join the fans in the pond? Fucking love him, mate.
This is what I've, and I just want to say on Xisco, I'll say this now, the guy's a legend. Like, I don't care what anyone says, he's a legend.
Mate, he's in the same category as Javi Gracia. I don't think I could find another modern day foot manager who gets a club. He's so warm and polite, and he just loves everything that Watford FC is.
Yeah.
And to find another man who came in, it's absolutely fantastic. And to see his raw emotion at the full-time whistle as well. But because he must know, he doesn't know what's going to happen next year. He hasn't got the badges or anything to actually manage in the Premier League yet. So I think Watford have to actually apply to see if they can give him special permission to manage in the Premier League. I know there's rumours saying that regardless of what happens next season, Xisco will be at the club, whether that is as a manager or an assistant manager, and then look to bring in someone else to help guide him to look to further take on his managerial role in Premier League or wherever it is to be. He just gets it, doesn't he? And he's such a warm figure, and I just fucking love him, mate. I thought it would be hard to find someone who gets it after Javi Gracia, and we all absolutely loved him and was gutted when he lost the job. And then we've obviously appointed Nigel Pearson. He's a bit like what is it? What's the thing you put on toast and you don't really Marmite?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on my third can now, mate. Fucking hell.
Yeah, slow down, Ben. Come on.
It's a bit like Marmite. You either love him or hate him, really.
Yeah.
Fantastic start, and then Ivic, he didn't fucking smile. And then Xisco, he comes. I fucking love him, mate. I can't say it enough.
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing we don't have a bleeper on this episode. Jesus, I'd have my fucking work cut out with you, mate.
Me, you're worse than me. But you know where I'm coming from. Like,
yeah, no,
people wrote him off. You and me, I think we both wrote him off. Coventry away was pivotal, wasn't it? Enough was enough. A lot of Watford fans wanted change, but I think that's just Watford fans being used to what it's like under the regime with the Pozzos and Scott Duxbury. You know, if results aren't going your way, there's going to be a change coming sooner rather than later. And I think we was all feeling it. And then for Xisco to change the formation, to get a massive result against Bristol City, and then go on a massive winning streak. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. It was like 9 out of 8 league wins or something in a row, and
I think we've lost 2 out of 15 games. I think. I'm sure someone will correct me on that if that is incorrect. But losing 2 games in 15, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
It really is, mate.
I can say it now. That's promotion form, and look what it's got us promotion. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Ben. I think after Gracia,
hang on, mate. One sec.
Can number 4, more swearing. If you got kids about, turn it down. I think you've hit the nail on the head there in all seriousness. You know, we had Javi Gracia. He was such a fan's favourite. Got us to an FA Cup final. Got us to our highest finish in the Premier League. Gutted we couldn't get Europa League football with him, but he's gone down in Watford folklore. Xisco just gets it. I mean, I just want to point out as well, Xisco, as you know, Ben, and for all those that might not know, Xisco has joined 2 Watford fan pages live this week. I was watching the brilliant Hornets Shane, who I know listens to this podcast. So, Shane, if you're listening,
legend.
I hope you're celebrating like we are, and I'm sure we'll speak again at some stage. He was doing the WD18 live blog, or I think it was the preview for this game, I think, or it was a review for the Norwich game. And Xisco joined. I was watching and Xisco joined. I thought, fucking hell, Xisco's in here. Like, this is crazy. And then a couple of days later, our good friend of the podcast, James Batchelor, the Watford Way, he's doing I think he did a live video either about the Norwich game or about this game today. And Xisco joined that. I mean, I think we're the only podcast or fan channel that he's not bloody joined. So, Xisco, get your bloody finger out, mate. Come on, get involved with Voices of the Vic, man. But in all seriousness, he does get it. Like he's such a people person, and like he was the perfect yes man at the time in terms of Ivic wasn't, very people person. It would seem from outside looking in, but Xisco just ticked all the boxes in that case. And then in terms of his record, don't forget as well, Ben. You mentioned the Coventry game there. We were all pissed off, and I've said I love football. Like I will never not love football. But after that Coventry game, I genuinely thought, right, that's it. I will quite happily switch this off now and not watch us anymore because I was that disinterested. But
if you remember correctly, at that time, I was decorating my front room and we was all saying we could actually talk about my decorating skills
yeah,
instead
exactly.
of that game because it was that boring, wasn't it?
It was. And I think what highlights it as well, Ben, is the fact, and listen, fans that were like this, I will never understand this. Like, yes, if we're going through a bad run, I will fully accept that. But don't forget, there were fans that were even saying, I will take a loss against Bristol City if this guy gets sacked. I mean, I will never agree with that. Like, if you said that, like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry, but if you said that, you're an idiot. But that's how toxic it got with Cisco as well. And now, you know, me and you were messaging at full time. We both had a bit of a lump in our throat watching him crying at full time, and like we were so happy for him. That video,
just proper
Ben,
got to him, man.
That video got to me of him thanking the ground staff. Like the ground staff, wow. I mean, Ben put a picture out on our social media of the grounds. I think it was yesterday, and the shares, the likes, the comments. It was incredible, and like
it hit like 7,000 people. It's mad.
It is absolutely like brilliant, and like it's a Premier League pitch, like without a doubt. Like it always has been, and you know, hats off to Scott Tingley and crew, and you know, for Cisco to recognise them as well. You know, he could have very easily got wrapped up in celebrations with the team, but no, he made sure he went over and thanked them. And like Cisco's a little legend, man. I love him. Like if he's here next season, whatever capacity he's in, he could be cleaning the fucking toilets for all I care. He will still be a legend at Watford FC. So I'm quite happy with that. I mean, if he's cleaning the toilets, then I'll be a little bit pissed off because that's quite a demotion from head coach.
I was going to say, mate, that's from one extreme to the other.
You know what I mean. I'm trying to sort of amplify it. But going back to the game, I mean, as we've said, there weren't really many chances in the second half. There was another change, our final change, 85th minute. Tom Cleverley again ran his socks off. I think, you know, it was one of them games where I don't think the midfield could really do anything because, you know, they were trying to lump the ball forward at every sort of venture possible. And, you know, the midfield was almost cut out a little bit in that second half. So Tom Cleverley coming off and Carlos Sanchez coming on. Do you know what? Although Carlos Sanchez has been pretty decent, I did worry a little bit because I think up until the Reading game, every game that he'd come on, his first action was giving the ball away. So I was a little bit worried about that. But he did all right in the 5 minutes that he had. And then, Ben, the worst thing in the world happened. It was 90 minutes. My heart was racing. Like my mum was watching something on a laptop sitting next to me. And like she had her headphones on, and I thought, Mum, like you're probably going to want to move rooms because I'm just going to be going absolutely ballistic. I genuinely, at one stage, was mirroring Kiko. Like I was pointing to people. I was like, press him, don't let him cross that ball, get to him. I was pointing and everything. It's a bit like if anyone watches Arsenal Fan TV, I know they're doing the live watch-alongs at the moment, and I think it's Ty. His name is the one with the headphones. He's been spotted like pointing to players where they should be going, and everyone's taking a piss out of him because it's almost as if what you'd expect the football manager to be doing on the sideline. I was doing that in my front room. I was like, if they've got the ball, I was like, press him. I was just a mess in that 4 minutes. And then I think the pivotal moment for me was we somehow won a free kick, like right by the byline of Dan Backman's, like of our area.
I'm glad you've mentioned this.
It was Relta, wasn't it? Or was it Sarr?
It was Ismail Sarr. It's a superb work rate from him. It was in the 93rd minute. We was backed in our own half, and Sarr comes running back, wins the ball back, and then wins a foul by the corner flag, and then just rolls about a little bit, just to waste a little bit more time. But that's what you want. That's fantastic commitment from Ismail Sarr. He's one of the most attacking players we've got at the club. And there was him working hard for a team. And that's what just shows the togetherness of his squad. Everyone's putting in a shift. And to see him come back and win the ball back and put pressure off the Watford defence, superb, mate.
And do you know what else I picked up on as well, Ben? And I think Adam Leventhal's picked up on it as well with the Athletic. And you listen to From the Rookery and Mike Parkins lucky enough to go with his job with Opta and everything else. the togetherness with the whole squad, as you've just said. I remember Andre Gray. I think he was pressing, and their defender could have put it out, or he tried to turn him, and then he slid, and Andre Gray slid, and he put it out for a throw in for Millwall, but it was basically right by their goal line.
And for reaction he got from everyone, it was like we just scored a goal. Everyone cheering. Troy Deeney alluded to this in the YouTube channel afterwards, after the game. He said how hard, go watch. I know I said it earlier, but everyone go watch it, and really worth the watch. But he alluded to the work rate, and like he was saying, even for Dre to come off the pitch and chase down the guy who was literally going nowhere, and with a throw in, and everyone celebrating like it's a goal. It was just fantastic, and that's what you need when you come off the bench. And I think that's what maybe Andre Gray gives to the team a little bit more than João Pedro.
Yeah, and we've spoke at length again. Me and Ben, we're quite happy to eat our words now that we've gone on. But me and Ben have spoke at length this season about how we didn't want Andre Gray anywhere near the starting 11 at the start of the season. And now look, he's come on and he's doing stuff like that. We're quite happy to eat our words on that, aren't we, Ben?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we said last week, I think we had like a big discussion about Andre Gray last week, and I don't think we'll go into the depths of it now. If you want to hear about it, go back to listen to the last episode, because our opinions have changed about him now. I think his work rate's a lot better, and he's actually trying now, isn't he, and putting in a bit of effort, and everyone can see it. Fair play to him. And that was his second promotion now from the Championship to the Premier League. He got promoted with Burnley. I think he was actually PFA, maybe top goal scorer that season as well.
He was top goal scorer in the whole of the Championship that season, Ben.
Yeah, so fair play to him, and then got promotion again with Watford now. So really pleased for him, and especially when things are going against you as well. Players maybe not getting in the starting lineup, for them to come on and show the same determination as the people starting. And fantastic, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. And as we said, the togetherness there, and then the moment we were all waiting for, that final whistle went, and I tell you what, like I said, like I felt so sorry for my mum. Like she was watching whatever she was watching on Netflix on her laptop, but I was screaming the house down. I was like, "Get in there!" And I was running about the place. You heard the Depeche Mode, Just Can't Get Enough in the background. The players coming on the pitch. I actually didn't see any of
Caroline.
it. Yeah, do you know what, Ben? I didn't see any of it. As soon as that final whistle went, I was too busy just running around the place. I actually didn't see anything after the full-time whistle in terms of players going on the pitch. I literally was running around the place. My mate texts me, he says, "I'm on the way back from the football. I'll come and pick you up and we'll go to the pub." So I was like making sure I had everything like ironed, make sure like, and I had my AirPods in, and you bet your bottom dollar I stuck Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode on. Turn the volume right up. I was ironing to that. I was like buzzing. I was mate, I had a tear in my eye. It was like, remember when me and you went to we went to the FA Cup semi-final, and we were in tears at the full-time whistle because we were that passionate, and like
goosebumps and tears that moment.
Genuinely, I could have burst into tears at full time because we'd done it. And like, that is such a proud moment. And like I've said, it's not quite sunk in. I went to the pub after the game. I was on Twitter. That was the first time I really got a chance to really scroll through Twitter after the game. I had so many messages. I don't know about you, Ben, but I had so many messages from friends, family.
I've not managed to go on my phone yet to have a look. I can't wait later to stop recording and just go through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So many messages of friends and family. Which, I can't wait to like go through it and relive the promotion that we've just done.
Absolutely, and it's just absolutely mental, and like we're absolutely buzzing. I mean, like I keep saying, it's not sunk in for me yet. Like, it's 8:15 on Saturday evening, and it's not sunk in for me whatsoever. I mean, I've got a beer here. I'll probably have a takeaway tonight as well, double whammy. I'm feeling a kebab. I'm not going to lie, Ben.
Mate, I've just had a kebab.
Have you?
Had a kebab. I was going to have something healthy tonight. I was going to have like a Cajun chicken, a bit of couscous and salad. But the moment we got promoted, and my missus was out. That's why I was looking after Isla. She actually had a fair bit to drink when she was out, and she had some food. And when I picked her up, she was like, "Oh, I'm not hungry tonight." And I was like, "That's a free pasta and kebab." Then. So I ordered a kebab, and it's turned up, and I've demolished it, mate. Absolutely,
to be done.
Got to be done.
Yeah, it's kebab for me. Although I have got to say, I've sort of drawn a bit of a short straw because on Friday I got a message saying there's an 11-a-side friendly going on with one of the teams in the surrounding villages where I live, and they've asked if I can play. Now, originally they wanted me to play in goal. Now, I've not played in goal 11-a-side regularly for, I would probably say, about 5 years. Before that, I used to play week in, week out in goal and whatnot. But I haven't played regularly for about 5-6 years. And then I went to the pub, and one of the guys that's playing, he said, "Oh, it looks like the goalkeeper's going to be all right, but if you turn up, you'll get a game outfield." And I thought, fucking hell, like in goal, you can get away with it. But outfield, I'm going to have to run my bollocks off. So at some stage, I'm going to have to slow down, Ben.
We heard how good you were at left back the other week.
If they put me at left back, mate, if they put me at left back, then there's going to be carnage, mate.
Mate, you know what I can imagine? Have you seen that video of like Boris Johnson before he was, I think it was London Mayor, and he tripped over and took a little kid out with like a rugby tackle?
Oh, yeah. I know
that was a football match, wasn't it?
It was Soccer Aid or not Soccer Aid.
Yeah,
that's not Reading,
I think he's done it twice, hasn't he?
Yeah, he pretty much rugby tackled someone in the charity game that was on TV, and then, as you said, there was a rugby game which was with
he
little
took the kid out.
And he just took the kid out. That'll be me tomorrow if I do come on and play outfield. So at some stage or another, I am going to have to slow down on the beers. But
I'm quite lucky that I haven't got a 6-a-side football this week. I've got 2 weeks off now, so I can eat and drink whatever I want now.
Mate, happy days. I would have booked work off, but unfortunately for me, I work in payroll, and the firm that I work for get paid on Wednesday. So this Monday coming, it's going to be like busy all week. So I couldn't book it off. I was saying to Ben a couple of weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to book it off. I'm going to book the Monday off just in case I'm absolutely hanging out my arse." But I'm going to have to sort of slow it down at some stage. But it's not quite sunk in. But Premier League, we are again, like, the Premier League have tweeted, "We've missed you, Watford. Welcome back," and everything. BT Sport tweeted it, and I'm just like, we're back in a Premier League.
You know what? I miss BT Sport. I love watching BT Sport coverage. I love what they do.
Yeah,
fantastic, isn't it? I absolutely love it, and I kind of miss watching it. If I could choose over BT Sport and Sky, sometimes I'd pick BT Sport. Other than it depends what kind of game it is. When you've obviously got Gary Neville on, you're going to watch the Sky games because his class, and what him and Carragher did this week was absolutely fantastic, and probably saved English football. I'll probably say that. They probably did save English football this week with, especially Gary Neville, probably more than Jamie Carragher. But I just love the coverage that BT Sport have got, and I think Jake Humphries is a really good presenter as well. I know he's a Norwich fan, so he's absolutely delighted that they've got promoted. And then Fletcher, I think he's a really good commentator. I think he's underrated. The only thing I don't like about BT Sport is Steve McManaman.
He could bore you to tears. He could. He'd send the Dalai Lama to sleep. He would. But I mean, personally, on a personal preference, I think Micah Richards and Roy Keane. Roy Keane I've always loved. Like, he's straight talking, says it how it is. Pretty much with Gary Neville. Like Gary Neville, when he was with the England setup, I think they said, "Oh, England have got a good chance of winning Sonny here," and he was like, "We're not at that level yet. We're not going to win anything." And I thought, I fucking love that. Like, I love characters like that. Roy Keane's a character wherever he goes. Micah Richards, he's absolutely brilliant. Brummy as well.
I love his laugh.
The Brummies are the best, mate. His laugh is class as well. In terms of commentators, I mean, we'll probably go off on a tangent. Peter Drury, he did the Watford-Liverpool game for the Overseas channel.
He is massively underrated.
Is he
Watford. He's actually from Berkhamsted, mate. He's
okay.
His kids are in the same year as my little brother. The Jury family. So they was playing football for the local side back in Berkhamsted as well. I think Berkhamsted Raiders they was playing for. But yeah, I used to get the train over from Watford Junction, from Berkhamsted to Watford Junction when I was younger and I couldn't drive. And Peter Drury was always on a train going over as well. And he actually lived a few roads away from me. So yeah,
there we go.
Another Berko boy.
Yeah, he's a very, very good commentator. I think he won an award for that game that he commentated Watford Liverpool with. I mean, if we're sticking with commentators, Bill Leslie and Daniel Mann for Sky Sports, probably the best commentators out there. I absolutely love them both. They're absolutely brilliant.
Clive Tealsley's very good as well.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate that he actually got let go by the England ITV for England games. Why did they do that?
Well, who knows? Whoever's in charge there, I'm sure that they've dropped an absolute bollock. Me and Ben are going to go to a quick break now, and then we'll be back with your questions that you've sent in. And my word, there's quite a few, so we'll look forward to getting our teeth into them, boys. But yeah, me and Ben will be going to a break now, and we will see you for part 2. Welcome back to part 2 of Voices of the Vic. We are going to delve straight into these. You know, we ask for questions every week. You guys always deliver. Absolutely brilliant.
This is the best bit of the show. I love this bit.
The
interaction we get.
Yeah.
I just love it. You just don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get a serious question. You're going to get a funny question.
Do you know what?
I've learned so much about you, and I've known you for years, mate. And so some things I'm a bit shocked off, but other things I'm like, yeah, I respect that, man.
What do you mean?
Sour cream onions,
mate. Come on, mate. I've got the sour cream and onion Pringles right next to me. These are the goats of Pringles crisps.
Have you cracked them open yet?
Yeah, I cracked them open earlier.
I've not heard you munching on them yet.
I know earlier. I put myself on mute when I was eating them. Well, she was speaking. I thought, fucking hell, Ben, don't end the sentence here. Carry on speaking. I was on mute munching them.
You know what? When we record on a Sunday, it's going to sound so bloody stupid, but whenever it's 3 of us in, so whenever we get James in as well, I record in the bedroom. So Kate and I are downstairs, my missus and my daughter, and whenever we're upstairs and there's 3 of us talking, I'm like polishing away upstairs. I just put myself on mute when like James is talking.
I did wonder. I thought Ben's putting himself on mute again.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see everything, mate. Don't you worry about that. Let's delve straight into these questions. There's a couple. There's a mixture of serious and funny questions. We'll start with the legend that we spoke about earlier, Hornets Shane. He's jumped straight in. He's jumped right in, and he said, "What was the biggest turning point in our season?" Now, for me, it might be generic, but I'm going to say Bristol City at home. Yeah, I think it's got to be that. That was the pivotal moment. That 6-0 win kicked off everything. I would also be tempted to say a bit of a one to throw you off. The Bournemouth defeat, that kicking off at the end, that brought the togetherness. A bit like the Luton game, you know, losing to Luton, we then went and beat Norwich. Like that, it brings the team closer together. But if I was going to say one, I'm going to go generic. I'm going to go straight down the middle. Sorry, it's a boring answer. Bristol City. Ben, you got anything else?
I think it's going to be the Bournemouth game, only because it was a defeat and it's how you react from that. And to see them respond like that, and it was a last-minute free kick. We haven't scored a free kick, was it about 5 years or so prior to that as well? So yeah. I would definitely say, for me, it's Cardiff, because it was such a tough place to go to, and we came from behind. You got to remember, we scored an own goal with Sirielta, and we responded by scoring by a fantastic goal by Nathaniel Chanova. So yeah, I think people forget we actually came from behind in that game at Cardiff as well.
I think the thing with Cardiff was we went behind, as you say, Sirielta own goal.
You got Pringles in your mouth, ain't you?
I'm not going to lie, mate. You caught me a bit short there, but you did. You saw me down the river a little bit there. You say obviously we conceded with Sierralta, and then we come straight back with Chalobah. I think that goal so quick afterwards, that was a key thing as well. And as you say, the first direct free kick we scored since Alman Abdi scored against Aston Villa in 15-16 season. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, I don't think there's a club out there that have got a record like that in terms of not scoring from free kicks for so long. So yeah, that's our answer, Shane. Thanks for the question. Hope you're keeping well. Another regular listener, George White, has said, who do you think / want? So a bit of two questions basically. Who do you think or want to win the playoffs? Now, Ben, firstly, who do you think will win the playoffs? And then tell me who you want to win the playoffs.
Firstly, thanks, George, for your support this season. Always passing the pod, you're always promoting it and giving it retweet and saying how much you enjoy it. So, yeah, hats off to you. Thanks for that, George. You don't have to do that. So, yeah, really appreciate it. Who do I want to win the playoffs and who do I want to go up? I want Barnsley to get promoted. I don't want Bournemouth to come up. They can fuck off if I'm totally honest. Can't stand the club. I think they're vermin. Jefferson Lerma as well. He can do one. So yeah, Barnsley to come up. I want them to win, and I think they will come up as well. I think they're in form at the moment, although I don't know what the results were today. Did they win today?
You know what, Ben? Whilst you're talking, I've just checked the table. Swansea are fucking 6th. How mad is that? How mad is that? We were worried about Swansea catching us, and they're 6th now. Like the playoffs is wrapped up. So as it stands, Ben, if the table was to finish like this, the playoffs would be Brentford v Swansea, Brentford v Swansea, and Bournemouth Barnsley. They'd be the semis. So out of that, yeah,
people are either going to love this podcast, and I'm going to think they're
going to be like, "This is shit." I'm never listening to another.
Or they're going to think it's a car crash. I think new-time listeners are going to listen to this and go, "What the fuck's that? I'm not going to listen to that."
If you're listening to this for the first time, just don't judge it off this one, please. Judge it off the first one or something, man, please.
Not even the first one. It wasn't that great.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe the last one.
Yeah, the last one. Judge it off the last one. Judge it off the Birmingham one. That's our most played one. So I'll just let the cat out of the bag with that one. But yeah, so you want Barnsley. You want Barnsley to win.
Yeah, I would love them to get promoted. I think they've just done so well, and to see them, it's what they've done this season is they're playing players that are young, inexperienced, but they're coming together. And then in January, they knew they needed a striker to come and get goals. They signed Dyke from America, and I can't believe he's like 20 odd years of age. He's really young. He's about 23 years of age, isn't he? And he's done fantastic. Like if we needed a striker or anything, I would look for no further than Dyke. I think he's been fantastic. And some of the goals he's scored this season have been phenomenal.
Yeah, he's on loan from Orlando City, I believe. Yeah, Daryl DK, I think it's pronounced.
DK, not Dyke.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, it's all right. He's 20 years old as well, and he's played 16 games for Barnsley and scored 9 goals.
He hasn't got a build for a 20-year-old, that's for sure.
No, he's done pretty decent. So that's who you want.
You've seen me at 20.
You should see me at fucking 2, mate. I was built like a brick shithouse.
You're probably the same size now.
Well, yeah, I was a big baby. Let's put it that way. That's who you want.
I imagine you. Do you watch League of Their Own?
Yeah. Well, not religiously.
Do you know Freddie Flintoff and his baby photos?
I've not seen his baby photos. No, was he a big lad? Was he?
Have you not seen the photo of him in this pram?
No.
I think some of the viewers that are listening at the moment are going to know what it is. And I think you're probably spitting image to what he looked like as a baby. I'm going to send it over to you now, and then you can have a look at it. And I want to hear your reaction because, mate, I think you might be a bit offended, but I think it's down to a T. Right, I'm sending it now. You will receive it in 3, 2,
I've done
1. You got it.
What the flipping hell is going off here? You having me on? Is that what the hell? Is that Photoshop?
No, he looks like the guy from the Goonies, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Hey, you guys. Yeah. I was a big baby, mate. I was.
Was you bigger or smaller?
I was going to say my weight then. Do you know what? Fuck it, man. I was 10 pounds when I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 pounds.
That's a big old boy. Your mum, was that a cesarean or?
I think so. This has got a bit weird now that we're talking about cesareans on a fucking Watford podcast.
No,
But
I'm just
yeah,
thinking. Normally, when it's a big baby, they have cesareans and that.
yeah, no, I think she
Yeah.
was a cesarean. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was going to say, fair play to her if she didn't. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this has a potential to go very, very west, very, very quickly. I asked you about who do you want to fucking win the playoffs. Now we're talking about cesareans and me being a 10-pound baby. What the fuck's going on? Um, this is one of those episodes. I think everyone that tuning in tonight would know what they were expecting from this. That's who you want to win the playoffs, Ben. Who do you
I
think will win
think
the playoffs?
I think when they were seeing your photos, you was posting 2 crates.
Hey,
They knew what they was
mate,
getting tonight.
I'm absolutely fine.
They knew what kind of quality they was going to get out of this show.
Mate, I think I'm absolutely fine. That's who you want to win the playoffs, Ben. Who do you think will win the playoffs then?
I think Bournemouth will. I don't want them to.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a different division to them. I think if they stay down, they could stay in the Championship for a long time because I think
They're
they'll
in the
lose the
shit
light.
as well with money.
I think they'll lose the likes of Dan Juma. I think Brooks would go as well. I think Lloyd Kelly would go. Yeah, and like you say, they're in the shit with all the money behind the scenes as well. They need to get promoted this season. So I just hope they fail, but I think they will succeed, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's gonna. Do you know what, Ben? I tell you what, I am looking forward to, and I have looked forward to every year we've been in the Prem. I'm looking forward to watching the playoffs, not stressing because my team's
Yeah.
like.
I'm looking forward to switching off in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, there's going to be some good games in that playoffs. Like I am looking forward to that.
There's good teams, so you know you're going to get good football out of it. Like Brentford play on the ball on the floor, so does Brentford, so does Barnsley, so does Swansea. All 4 good teams that play good football, so you know you're going to get a good standard. So yeah, I'm looking. This is like the time of season where you're looking forward to putting your feet up. You're going to open up another can and you just sit on the sofa and you enjoy the playoffs.
Yeah. Absolutely, you summed me up to a T there, man. Caroline has said, which player, past or present, would you like to go out celebrating with, and why? That's a good question.
That's such a good question.
Scenario
can you
is,
answer that one so I can have a think?
Yeah, scenario is we've just been promoted, which we have. You get one phone call to ring a current or ex-player and be like, do you want to go out for a few beers? And they're like, yeah. And then you go out partying with them for the whole night. That is a bloody good question. Do you know what, right? Just because of when we interviewed him, he seemed like such a joker. It's a toss-up between Robbo and Jordan Stewart, but I think Jordan Stewart just edges it for me. Like Jordan Stewart just sounded an absolute laugh. So I'm going to go Jordan Stewart on that one. You can go with the same answer, Ben. You don't have to be different.
That's a really good answer. I see where you're gone with that. He's a joker, isn't he? And he's the life and soul of whatever he does. And after him talking about the celebrations in the Cardiff nightclub after we got promoted at the Millennium Stadium, it's hard not to go with Jordan Stewart. But I'm going to try and do something different.
Okay.
I think I'll probably go Troy Deeney. We all saw the celebrations last time we got promoted. We all saw him picking up that champagne bottle and spraying it all over everyone. I think all over someone's phone, if I remember. I was thinking, shit, he's going to need a new phone in the morning. But yeah, I'm going to probably go Troy Deeney. He's a Watford legend. I'd love to spend like any kind of time with him. Even if it's 1 minute, I'd just love to be in his presence. And I imagine he's a nutter on a night out.
I don't think he drinks anymore though, but I know what you mean.
Hang on, I'll bring it back. Sean Murray.
Mate, I can't remember what game it was.
We bumped into with in Oceania.
In Oceania. He was absolutely wankered, he was.
He was trying, he did have drink all over his t-shirt.
Yeah.
He was up on the top having a fag, weren't he?
Brilliant. I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah, go on in.
He had a crafty old cigarette or 2 or 4, a packet. Yeah. But yeah, he was wankered, mate. He had drinks all down him.
That was a promotion season because I said that thank God that fucking Sonino's gone. And he was like, he was there today. I was like, what? He says, yeah, he was there watching. I was like, oh my God. And I asked for a photo. There is a photo knocking about with me and Sean Murray. And Sean Murray's got this grey jumper on and he's like pretty much the whole of the front of the grey jumper. He's just pretty much dark grey because he's fucking spilt beer all over him or whatever he was drinking.
I bumped into Lloyd Doyley in Oceania one night.
Lloyd Doyley loves Oceania. Well. He loves it. He loves it, mate.
Our good friend Jack Lindsay was with, and we bumped into him on a really good night out, and he was absolutely bollocks. And I got a photo with him, and Yeah, he loves the old Oceania, don't he? I think he had probably a weekly membership, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, yeah, no, I think he had keys to the fucking club then. But yeah, that's who we would pick anyway, Caroline. There's some very strong contenders, let me tell you that. And Catherine, this one's quite an easy one to answer because of the circumstances. Catherine Jones said, "Do you think Jerry might come back now we've been promoted? If he was still on loan at Udinese, then yes, I would. But with his recent injury as well that he's picked up again, unfortunately for him, and with his permanent transfer, I don't think we will be seeing Gerard Deulofeu in a Watford shirt
Yeah.
anytime soon, unfortunately."
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't think we're going to see him again in a Watford shirt, which is unfortunate. But what I will say is, and who I do think we'll see in a Watford shirt next season, is Chucho Hernandez. And we've got him on loan. He's over in La Liga at the moment. He actually tweeted earlier to Watford saying congratulations and promotion, and he's actually on loan and he's coming back to Watford next season. And if you follow the Athletic and Adam Leventhal, he's actually said that he's well in the plans for next season. So we are going to have that young Colombian coming back, which is exciting prospect as well. To think we're going to have him and João Pedro as options up top. I think we'll probably need another option as well. I think we probably need someone with a bit more experience, but them two, it's a really exciting time for Watford.
Absolutely. Luis Suarez, where you watch him from the bench on Granada now, mate. You should have stayed with us. Not that I'm bitter or anything. This isn't a question, but shout out to the Rams Review podcast guys at the Derby podcast. They says, "Congrats, guys. We'll miss chatting to you. We'll miss chatting with you next season." They might even be in League One by the end of the season.
Yeah,
so
they're really
feel
good
so
lads.
sorry for them. They are very
really good lads. Corey and
Jason.
And Jason, really good lads. They've got a lot of time. They put a lot of time into that Rams Review, and I feel sorry for them. I've started following them this season and to see how they're struggling. They can't hit a barn door up top. I think they've got a lot of injuries as well. Wayne Rooney being so inexperienced as a manager as well. Rotherham, I know they lost at Barnsley today, but they've still got 2 games in hand and they can overtake Derby. And I think they're only 3-4 points behind them as well. So really fear for Derby County. And to think Derby County, who are quite a large club as well, could be in League One next season, that's massive.
It is. And, hopefully for those guys' sake, they stay up because they're really, really good guys. And
let's hope so.
If you haven't, we've spoken to them before. Go and check those podcasts out in the past. It's almost the end of the season, so you'll have a bit of spare time to listen to some Watford preview. Watford
stuff.
Yeah, go on.
I've just had a look on Twitter and I'm scrolling through trying to catch up from little bits and pieces. I don't know if you've seen this, but our friends at WD18 just congratulate them on a massive season. Jacob, Sam, Elliot, Shane have been fantastic this season and the concept they're giving us this season. But I've just seen them tweet a video of William Troost-Ekong, I think maybe on his Instagram or something, and he's like living his best life. And he's outside.
They're smoking cigars, weren't they?
Yeah, he's outside the front smoking a cigar, and there's so many Watford fans up the other end of Occupation Road, and all the players are outside celebrating. Dan Batman's got a bottle of champagne in his hand. Troost-Ekong's got a cigar in his mouth, and there's a flare going up outside the Red Line from all the fans. Mate, absolutely gutted we couldn't be there today, but this is what you want to see. This is what promotion's all about.
Absolutely, and I echo what you say about WD18. They continue to smash it. They've been absolutely brilliant for years.
Their
now.
player interviews this season, Cleverly, Hungbo, Zinken-Eagle.
Yeah,
there's been a bit of distance from Watford and the fans this season, haven't they? But what WD18 have done, they've brought everyone closer together, and they've just been outstanding. You just know when you see WD18, you're going to get good content, and fair play to every single one of them. And special mention to Jacob for what he's achieved as such a young man. He's destined for the things at the top, isn't he? Like we've 100%. Said before, and we've even mentioned this to him, he will work for the club, no doubt, from one day. What he's done to Watford fan base is absolutely incredible, and it's not just that, he's a top man. He's got so much time for people outside of Watford as well.
We've been lucky to speak to all the WD18 boys. In fact, they've got 100% record on this show. Every time we've had them on, we've won. So more than happy to have them on next season, and I'm sure we absolutely will have them on next season at some stage. And as Ben said, they're absolutely brilliant. It would be very easy for them to, the views they've had, the feedback they have, it'd be very easy for them to sort of shut off to the rest of the Watford podcast or Watford media sort of world. But they sort of welcome me with open arms. And I know this isn't the end of the season, so I don't want to go too in depth with this, but that goes for everyone. The guys that from the Rookery end, they've been absolutely brilliant to us as well. From the moment we started to now, they've been brilliant. WD18, absolutely the same. James at the Watford Way has been absolutely superb as well. He's obviously been on this podcast, and he's almost pretty much, as it says in our bio, he's sort of like the third member that comes on every now and then. So, he's been pretty much a mainstay as well. So the content that's available for Watford fans at the moment, I'm not saying this to big us up or anything. I'm just talking about outside. The content available at the moment is absolutely incredible. And I think Watford can be very, very proud of that.
I think from for years, Watford fans have probably just had Watford FC and from the Rookery end. And don't get me wrong, both are fantastic. From Rookery end, hats off to John, Jason,
Mike,
Colin, and Adam Leffenthal this season as well. Like we've all relied on them to give them us fans insights and that. But this season and last season, to see more people putting things together, so there's more content for people. Like even there's a brand new podcast, Do Not Scratch Your Eyes. They've got player interviews, ex-players, and they've got new content as well. And you've always got Ronnie Rampage as well, and you've got the Hornets, Heaven, and there's so much for Watford fans to listen to now, and it's just great. And you've got options now, isn't it? And it's just fantastic, and a great time to be a Watford fan as well, especially after the promotion. You just want to listen to everything and just suck it all in.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And we've gone a bit off topic there, but I mean, the last couple of questions we got, me and Ben, I'm sure we'll do a dedicated episode to this, pretty much asking who stays and who goes. We won't discuss that tonight. The last question that we got from Twitter is from a regular listener, James Hurst. He said, "Good times never felt so good. Hope you lads are having a fucking amazing evening.
James.
What's your favourite type of curry? And then where do you think we'll finish next season?" In terms of curry, I'll put this out there now. You've probably got a few options to choose from. I will hold my hands up. I'm a lad that loves beer. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm from Birmingham. Birmingham, well known for its curries. We've got a Balti triangle, as they say. Anyone that's gone to West Brom away, anyone that's gone to any of the Birmingham games will know about the curry situation in Birmingham. I had my first ever curry last year. Like, I've never had a curry. For a bloke that loves beer, I've never had a curry before. I cannot hack spice one bit. Like, it's just not happening. So for that, I have to say my go-to curry is either a chicken korma or a chicken tikka korma. Call me what you want, but that is it for me. Ben?
Oh, sorry, mate. One more. Yeah, one more won't hurt. I'm on my sixth can now. How many more behind am I of you?
I think I'm on the 11th bottle, and I've obviously had 3 points.
I've only got 3 cans left in the fridge, so I might have to go to the shops.
Better get to the shop, boy.
Sorry about that. So Indians, you need to step up your game if all you can handle is a korma. I love an Indian. It's my favourite takeaway. It's up there with a kebab, but I would choose an Indian over a kebab. I quite like a bit of spice. I go for a lamb jalfrezi. It's quite spicy. I do want to try Vindaloo one day. Whether I could hack it or not's a different matter, because when I do have a jalfrezi, my nose runs like tap water. It's completely running. I've got to have, those napkins you have in an Indian. I'm constantly wiping my nose with that. Although, is it me, or whenever you go to an Indian, when you get the sauces at the start, I always fucking spill that yellow sauce that goes everywhere. That mint one goes all over the napkin, and I just look like a bloody idiot. Everyone else, immaculate. Me, I've got the mint sauce all over my napkin.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I wish I could delve into these other curries, but I just cannot hack spice whatsoever. For a lad of my age who loves a beer, loves going out from Birmingham, like you'd think I was destined for curry, but I just can't hack it. I'm really sorry. Like, My go-to is a Chinese. I'll have a kebab. I'm defo ordering something I've just ate tonight after we finish recording. We've had quite a few questions on Instagram as well, but unfortunately, we're not going to have time to get around to answering them. But honestly, guys, like genuinely, we see everything that comes in, and me and Ben, we probably like a bit sound like sick of each other, sort of, in terms of the amount of messages we exchange to say how fucking crazy this has been so far. Like our 1 year anniversary is on the 13th of June, so that'll be in the off season. But like this, the amount of interaction we've had, considering we've not even hit a year, like you probably, if you follow us on our personal social media, you probably would have seen we hit the other day just over 15,000 downloads. And the fact that we've been going for less than a year, that some people might be listening to this thinking 15,000 downloads, that's nothing. Me and Ben literally started this, and it was genuinely, me and Ben said to each other, let's see how the first episode goes. If it goes well, we will continue it. And then if it starts to peter off, we will finish. And like it will be like, okay, we tried, etc. The fact that we're not even a year in and we've got 15,000 downloads. I know this might sound a bit like big-headed, but I don't care, man. Like me and Ben are proud as punch, and we cannot thank you guys enough for the continuation of like support you give us, the questions you give us, the interaction you give us on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, whatever. Like it's just absolutely ballistic. I mean, we were going to talk about the Brentford game, but we can't even squeeze that in tonight. Like Ben, I know you want to have a few words. Go for it, my brother.
What I just don't believe is it's just you. I think that's what I don't understand is it's just you, Mike Duffy, me, Ben Aiton, just two mates who have met through Twitter, through a love of Watford, and we've just started talking. It's basically a phone call which we've recorded.
Pretty
we
much.
Thought we'll just put it out there, because what it was, we started this at the start of lockdown where things were tough and we couldn't get to games. So the best thing was to start phoning each other up and talking about the games. And then we was like, let's put this out as a podcast and see what happens. Since then, we've just grown and grown and grown. And I've loved it. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I think we had a little hiccup this season when we put out a poll asking for Ivic in or Ivic out. But we purely did that because we saw another Twitter page put it out, and they was getting reaction to it. So we did it as well to see, and we was going to use it for podcast. A lot of fans didn't like that, which we put our hands up and we said we was just doing it for own research pretty much, and fair play. We put our hands up and we took it down, and the rest is history. But since then, I just feel like we've grown so much. And what's got me this season is the amount of, just this week in itself, we've had so many people message us privately, just saying how much they enjoyed the pod. I've had people messaging me privately saying, it's been so tough for me this season, being in lockdown, not being able to go to see my friends, not being able to go to the Vic where I feel like I'm home and that, and I can't go, but I listen to your podcast and it makes me feel closer to the action. And then having those two people over in Australia listening to the podcast, Australia, man, that's the other side of the world, and they're listening to this, and it's just you and me just talking about our love for the club. And I said to you the other day, what got me the most was our good listener, Peter Johnson. I think it was him.
It was him. I know what you're going to say.
Christmas Day, he tweeted saying, turkey's in the oven, listening to the voices of Vic. And he took a picture of like a glass of wine, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I was so proud that day. And I just showed the picture to my missus, and she was like, you're doing a good job. And literally now, you could probably hear it in my voice, I'm smiling from cheek to cheek. I love what we do. And like, I must admit, it's been hard doing it since my daughters came into the world, because I don't have as much time. But I just love this football club, and I just want to continue it. And and fair play to you, mate. You always like, I say to you, can we do it this time? Can we do it this time? We record so fucking early in the morning, 8 in the morning, sometimes 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, just to work around me and my little daughter so we can do it. So fair play to you, mate. And we just want to keep giving fans content and carry on growing. And next season we'll just smash it. We'll carry on doing what we're doing, and we'll try and do our best to improve on what we're doing, and maybe give a few more podcasts with a few more drinks down us.
Hopefully that is the case. I felt a bit like a priest in a fucking confessions box then at the end, but no, I like me and Ben, we harp on about it so much on the podcast, but we don't.
One sec. And one more, I must say, fair play to James as well. James from Watford Way.
Yeah.
You obviously knew him a little bit from the connections of Watford Way, and you worked on another podcast as well, and you got him on board. But for him to come in, he didn't really know me. He came on one episode, and he just hit the ground running, and he just fits the chemistry. I don't want to sound like I'm blowing our own trumpets, but the chemistry he comes in and gives to us as well, it's like he's known us for years, and the banter he gives us. And I must say, the other day he was getting a bit brave, wasn't he, on our WhatsApp group? He was like calling us both out, and he was like saying he was going to take us out. It's like, come on, James.
He said he was having a few shandies tonight.
Yeah,
like, going all
out. I'm kind of thinking now we should have got him on the pod tonight. If he was having a few shandies, he could have joined in.
Yeah, no, it would have been interesting for sure. I mean, like I say, me and Ben, you might be thinking, oh, here we go, they're going on about it again, but it is genuinely in disbelief that people actually sit and listen to us. Like, we know this podcast, I'm going to have to edit this down a little bit. And I know
when's it going out?
This is going out tonight, Ben. Like,
yes,
when
mate.
people are listening to this,
people are going to get People are going to get back from a pond, and they're going to put on Voices of Vic. They're going to be all pissed up to their eyeballs, and they're going to be listening to this going,
I think they're going to
fucking love these boys.
I think they're going to have to be listening to this. But, like, I know people might be thinking, oh, they're going on about, like, how much they appreciate the fans again. And I know this is a little bit longer. Like, this is probably our longest episode that we've had. But, like, genuinely, like, we cannot thank you guys enough. I mean, just in terms of the Australian guys, Johnny B _UK to Oz is one of them. And then it's at Dean D Lane 7 is the other gentleman that's in Australia. Like, thanks to you guys as well. But, like, we're talking as if it's the end of the season. We've still got Brentford to play. Obviously, me and Ben will be back.
We can still win the fucking title, mate.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. We're 5 points behind with 6 points to play for. That's not going to happen.
You never know. You never know.
Well,
Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. But me and Ben will be back next week to talk about the Brentford game. Hopefully,
no, don't end it now. Don't end it. I've got to go to bed.
Hopefully, it's going to be a win. You know, we got promotion. To be honest, I don't give shit anymore. Like, yeah, it'd be great to win the title, but we've got promotion. That's the most important thing for me. But we honestly cannot thank you guys enough for the continuation, the support you give us all the time. Like, if you've liked this one, sorry it's a little bit longer, but me and Ben have
sorry for the swearing as well.
Yeah, the swearing as well. If you've got kids, fucking hell, turn this down. But yeah, me and Ben, like, cannot thank you enough. Like, it's been absolutely crazy, and it won't be long till the end of the season, and then me and Ben will be back next season for we'll be back stronger, as I say on the Peter Crouch podcast. But thank you so much as always for listening. We cannot thank you enough. The Horns are back in the Premier League. Get in there. Come on. Stay safe for the rest of the week.
Mike, I think we should both sing a Watford song to just end the pause.
I'm not that pissed yet, Ben, so I don't know about
come
that.
on.
What? Go on. What you think? You lead it off, and I'll join in.
We're Watford FC. We're
Premier League. We're Premier League. We're Premier League. We're Watford FC. We're Premier League. Happy days getting there. The Horns are Premier League again, baby. We will be back next week. The Premier League Watford FC will be taking on the whipping boys of the Championship, Brentford, who bottled that playoff spot. No, I'm joking. We'll be back next week to talk about the Brentford game. Hopefully a win. You know, it'd be nice to win the rest of the games, the 2 games remaining. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in as always. Stay safe. Hope your loved ones are fine. And we will be back next week. Come on, you Horns.